What's going on, CSBA, and welcome back to another fabulous episode of CSBA Hoops Today. It is your boy Lion United, joined by Mr. Ace himself. Ace, how we doing today on this World Cup Sunday? Not sure if you got a chance to catch the game, but Spain with a big time victory over the King Messi himself. But how we doing? And we're back for yet another week. We only have a couple weeks remaining before conference tournament play.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah, we're already on week 8, which is kind of crazy. So just only 2 more weeks of regular season left. Um, the regular season has definitely flew by here.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. We had another great lineup of games this past week that we're going to be going over here. But before we actually get into the actual games here, let's take a look at how our admin rankings piled up here for this past week. The top five, Ace, really no changes there. You got your typical North Carolina, Hawaii, Kentucky, LSU, Oklahoma State. And then we have Michigan jumping a couple spots, which I would anticipate they will continue to climb after this past week. And
Mm-hmm.
then Illinois also took a climb with Wichita State. I mean, what a shock. We'll get into that here. They dropped 4 spots. Actually, they played last week, but losing to UCLA, so that dropped them down from number 6. And then Mississippi State getting into the top 10 here at number 9. But how you feeling about the top 10 here? Is there any thing you think the admins got wrong, or is it pretty good here, especially with the top 5? Not much has changed.
For the most part, I think it's correct. We're gonna see. I expect probably Oklahoma State and Michigan maybe flip spots this upcoming week.
Hmm.
I was kind of shocked that Wichita State, yes, it was kind of a really bad loss because UCLA hasn't won a game and
Yeah.
Wichita State was undefeated at that time. But I don't know if they're still 5-1. I don't know if they should have dropped below Mississippi State. I would have probably put them at 9. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Mississippi State, obviously, Wichita State, that was their first loss of the season, but I think the admins are just really taking that one to heart and just how bad of a loss that is or could be in the long run there for Wichita State. Because as we've kind of talked about, Wichita State hasn't really, had a tough schedule. They really haven't faced a top team yet. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't mind Mississippi State being ahead of Wichita State. I know Mort would probably disagree with me there, but I think we're okay. It'll all work itself out here as we get to the end of the regular season. But let's just dive right into 11 through 20. As we have Houston hanging on at 3-3 at number 11, and then we have Florida jumping 4 spots up to 13, and a big time climb into the top 20 here was Creighton up to 15, and Virginia Tech squeezing its way back into the top 20 into number 17. And ever since Ace, we called Syracuse and C-Web out. They are doing nothing but winning ball games, jumping into the top 5 at number 19. But a lot of movement here between 11 through 20. Ace, how you feeling about this graphic and all the movement that's taken place?
Yeah, for the most part, as we saw, Providence got pretty embarrassed against UNC, but
Yeah.
UNC number 1 for a reason. So going down 2 spots, I think that's correct. Florida, I've said it from day one, you got to be careful of them if they can figure out their defense more consistently. Um,
Hmm.
they're probably one of my dark horses to win it all. Texas A&M, man, I feel so bad for them. Like, I think they've lost like every game within 5 points or less. So
So you're okay with
they're
them being 2-4 and being where they're at?
yes, I am. I am.
Okay.
But I'm really wonder will Arizona and Michigan State the next time we do this, will they be out of the top 20? Because I believe both of them lost this week. So I wonder who's going to move up and who's going to go down.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting new admin poll coming out here very shortly within the next 24 hours, I would say, based on when we're recording this here on Sunday night. But I mean, man, you just look at this graphic and you see all the 3-3 teams there. It's going to be quite an interesting run here in the last couple of weeks for the CSBA to see who makes it to the big dance and who doesn't. But let's just get right into it here with the first night of games as we had number 16 Memphis taking on number 10 Wichita State. Going to see if Wichita State can get back on track. And then we had the Wildcats of Kansas State, number 8, taking on Sparty at number 20. And then Arizona, number 18, taking on unranked Gonzaga. Ace, let's get right into Memphis, Wichita State, a top 20 matchup. And Wichita State, I know they came off that really, really bad loss to UCLA, but they did not, you know, dishearten themselves. They took it right on the chest and came back and got a big time win against a hot Memphis team.
Yeah, if you really look at the box score, I think it's even closer than a 9-point win for Wichita State. It was kind of neck to neck, but the biggest thing for me in this one was Wichita State's offensive rebounds, +4 against Memphis,
Yeah,
but they had 13 to 2 second chance points. So when they were getting those offensive rebounds, they were putting them back in, and I think that was the key for Wichita.
yeah, yeah. Some big time performers here for the Shockers. You had Molly Thomas with 19 points, Mort with 14, and Nitty with 14. So big time performances out of them. Nitty, I would say, has to work on a little bit getting a little bit more efficient. They shot 5 for 15 from the field. So not exactly what you want to see there. But Memphis, not a lot of big time scoring out of them. You had Jalen Tyree leading the way with 14 points. Would have liked to see a little bit more out of him. But yeah, big time comeback here, getting back on the winning ways for the Shockers, and we'll see if they can continue that moving forward. But the next game, we got the Wildcats pulling it out against Sparty on the road, 76 to 69. Ace, did anything stand out here to you? Kansas State also getting back to their winning ways.
Yeah, I watched this game. This game was neck to neck. Um, Biggest thing for me, Michigan State won the points in the paint +6 against Kansas State, but the biggest thing, 0 for 6 from three-pointers for Michigan
Mm,
State. They could not hit a 3 in that game. I think if they hit 2 of those, they probably win that game. And
yeah,
it's just kinda crazy, team shooting 0% from 3, but
yeah, I don't
it
know if
might just be the game plan.
yeah, yeah, Michigan State, that's definitely a big time thing. I mean, both teams only held a lead of 7, so two pretty evenly uh even teams. I don't even know. I can't even speak here tonight. Even teams. You had some pretty even scoring across the board here for Kansas State. You had three players, actually four players with 12 points. So you love to see that out of the Wildcats' depth. Um, One interesting stat here, Ace Dory Brown. I don't think I've ever seen a stat line like this. 5 points and 14 rebounds with four blocks. So not a lot of scoring from Dory, but oh man, did he really perform on the rebounds and the blocks.
Yeah, I'm kinda surprised Dory Brown, didn't score more than that, but definitely had a tough opponent against Bartlett. Um, if he could have dropped maybe 10 points,
Yeah,
maybe they would have pulled that off. But shout out to Kansas State, stopping one of their superstars.
yeah, yeah. Big time win there for Kansas State with carrying momentum here into the end of the year. But the final game on that slate, uh, Ace, this is another team that we were kind of doubting very, very much in the Zags. They
Mm.
have a 7 point victory over number 18 Arizona, who Arizona's definitely on the slide now, but Gonzaga, they're getting hot at the right time.
Yeah, I think they won 3 in a row, I
I think
believe.
so. Hmm.
And this game was absolutely insane. I stayed up and watched the whole thing. Um, this game went to double overtime. Uh,
Wow.
Arizona had like a 20-point lead going into half, and Gonzaga slowly worked at it. And hey, it took two overtimes, but they pulled it off. Biggest thing for me, 60 points in the paint for Gonzaga to only 48 for Arizona. 27 assists to only 17. And crazy, this game was a turnover fest. Arizona had night probably because it went over to two overtimes, but 19 turnovers for Arizona and 15 turnovers for Gonzaga. But those 15 turnovers led to 23 Gonzaga points. That's huge.
Yeah, yeah, that is big time. A couple other things that I saw here, as you kind of alluded to, both teams held some pretty significant leads.
Mm.
Arizona with 19 and Gonzaga with 10, so both teams held very large leads. But kind of what's interesting to me, you said they went into double overtime, and neither team managed to even put up over 100, which is kind of crazy. You would imagine both teams getting close to putting or going over 100 in double overtime, but it is what it is. But I mean, some big time performances here for Gonzaga. You have Keith Times, one of the typical guys, showing out with 20 points. You had ChatGPT with 18 and Stern with 16, so you love to see that. Some positive things on the Arizona side. One of the players that I thought really stout this entire week is Chevy Quanago with 23 points, 2 rebounds, and 8 assists, and then Swoosh with 15. But Ace, I think this is going to push the Wildcats out of top 20 at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Arizona, they're a scrappy team, but they got to figure something out here quickly as they're sliding fast.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of another team that's sliding fast, we'll get into the next slate of games as we have number 7 Illinois traveling to Kansas, and then C-Web Syracuse taking on a hot Creighton team, number 19 versus number 15, and then your number 4 ranked LSU Tigers traveling to Auburn to take on Cease Miller and the Tigers. Ace, let's start with Illinois and Kansas. I'll tell you what, one team that I really wasn't thinking was going to be this this poor at this point in the season, but Kansas is on the wrong side of things at this point as another loss for the Jayhawks.
Yeah, unfortunately, Kansas probably the biggest shocker of the season, but very tough Big 10, Big 12 conference.
Yeah,
But biggest thing for me, we talked about having a deep team, bench points for Kansas, only 16 bench points. Gotta have more than that. And Illinois had 27. So gotta have a deep team if you want to compete in the CSBA.
yeah, there's no doubt about that. I think that's been proven week in and week out as Illinois continues its winning ways. You typical Britt Brownstone finishing with 15. You got Hawk with 15 and 6. So you love to see that out of Illinois as they continue being hot. A couple performances from the Jayhawks. You got McDrizzle with 17 and Day with 15, but just not enough as they lose by 10 points to the Illini. And then the next game on that slate of games that we had was Syracuse taking down arguably one of the hottest teams in the CSBA in Creighton, 84-72. And Syracuse, tell you what, man, they're starting to turn it on, and C-Web's got something cooking over there in Syracuse, New York.
Yeah, they sure do. They've been lights out.
Ever since we called them out,
Yeah, and I think are they in a 3-game win streak or a two?
it's at least
I'm
two. I swear, ever since we called
yeah,
them out, they've been winning.
yeah, they've been doing excellent, and this should move them even higher in the rankings. So,
I could see them
are
flipping with Creighton spots at least.
yeah, the box score a little crazy here, but shout out my boy NKOTB. What a crazy stat line for him. 22 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks on an almost perfect night, 9 of 10 shooting.
Yeah, that's definitely one of their top players who's been heating up here the last few weeks. Uh, it's unfortunate because I was starting to, have a feel good story here for the Creighton Blue Jays. I'm not counting them out whatsoever by any means, but it's definitely going to hurt, especially losing at home here to Syracuse, a team you're probably expecting to beat at this point in the season, especially with the way you've been playing. But Stretch Paka had 17 points, so a very good performance there. But look up for Syracuse, and we'll see if they can continue their winning ways moving forward. But the game after the Orange and Blue Jays was LSU beating down
Oh,
Cease Miller and Auburn 97-70. Not a lot to say here, Ace. LSU is just doing what needs to be done, and Auburn getting another beat down at home.
yeah, you're not gonna win too many games the when LSU shoots 62% from the field. That is absolutely crazy. And they shot 50% from three,
Why don't
10
you
of
keep going? What
20.
about the next? Yep, yep.
Yeah.
How
And
about one
then
more? Look at the free throw line from the free throw
yeah,
line.
7 for 7. Perfect night. I mean, everything leading. I'm kind of surprised the bench only scored 25 for LSU. So that tells me that um the starters were just on one. But shout out to Auburn's bench. If there's any bright spot, the bench scored 38, but you need their starters to perform better.
Yeah, yeah. It's if Cease Miller's not popping off, it's potentially going to be a tough night for Auburn. I mean, especially against number 4 LSU when you got Soul, Fly, Millie, O'Neal, and White all above 10 points. Um, Auburn did have 3 players above 10 in Edwards, Miller, and Cole, but just catching LSU on a bad night when they're coming in hot, and Auburn is just simply not on the same level as LSU. So not too surprised by the outcome of that one. But on Wednesday we had a battle of Texas with Texas going to Houston, and then we had Hawaii going to UCLA to see if UCLA could pull off another upset. And then to end the night, we had Mississippi State and a team that's just struggling to do anything in Vanderbilt. But let's start with the Battle of Texas as Houston ends up getting a 10-point victory, Ace, against arguably one of the scrappiest teams in Texas who you can never, kind of doubt. You got to always expect big things out of them. But how about this one? Anything that stood out to you?
Um, I'm really surprised because Texas has some good bigs, but Houston dominated them on the glass. 35 total rebounds to only 21 for Texas. So
Wow.
Texas got a rebound better, and Texas only had 7 turnovers, but Houston got 14 points off those turnovers. So every time they were turning over the ball, Houston was scoring, and I think that was the biggest factor.
Yeah, they definitely took advantage of that as Texas never led in this game. But a big time performance here from Austin Sanders with a 20-point game, and Bordeaux with 15 points and 5 assists, and then Leon Sandcastle oh so close to yet another double double, having 14 points and 9 rebounds. But on the Texas side of things, you had Caleb Allen, who absolutely popped off for 5 of 6 from three, finishing with 23 points. Kind of surprising here. Kai Avery did not hit the 10-point mark. That's certainly not going to help whenever you're trying to get a win over a top 20 team. But again, like I said, Texas is very scrappy, so you never want to count them out. But Houston, very nice victory for you at home. Uh, Up next, we had a red hot number 2 Hawaii team taking on a UCLA team who just recently beat Wichita State. But Hawaii said, let's just end that at one and put a 100 piece up on you and just absolutely run UCLA out of their home building.
The craziest stat, this might be the highest points in the paint I've seen. Um, Hawaii only shot three threes, but they didn't need it because they had 70 points in the paint, 70 against UCLA, and UCLA only had 20. So Hawaii
Good God.
is very scary team, and they killed them in the rebounds. There's really not much to say, but uh, Hawaii is going to be a threat to any team.
Yeah, yeah. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Pacquiao Leary shot 8 for 8 with 18 points. You have Stern shooting 7 for 9 with 17. You have Medici 7 for 9, 14. Houlihan 5 for 7 with 11. I mean, you don't want to face Hawaii in a tournament. I'm just gonna say that you don't even want to face them now. I would never want to face them. I'll be honest. Not a lot to say for UCLA. Another blowout loss, unfortunately, coming off that high against Wichita State. But Swan finished with 12, so I'd like to see that, and King with 11s. But yeah, Hawaii is the name of the game here, and they are going to be a team to continue looking out for. But not much else to say about that. But then another game that there's not going to be much else to say. You have number 9, Mississippi State, again beating down Vanderbilt 85-58. Ace, I know Vanderbilt's bad. Don't get me wrong, but Mississippi State, they're looking pretty dang good themselves. I know it's a bad Vanderbilt team, but they did what they had to do.
Yeah, they sure did. One thing I like to see on Mississippi State side, them shoot the three ball a little bit better. Only two for
Yeah.
nine. Um, so if they play against a better team, they're definitely gonna have to shoot better from the 3 point line. But there's really not much to say here. Again, big thing, points in the paint, 50 to only 28, and 17 Vanderbilt turnovers leading to 20 Mississippi
Oh,
State points. That's the key of the game right
that
there.
I don't know if I've seen higher than 17 in a game before. I could be wrong, but that's an insane amount of turnovers.
Yeah,
Uh,
that
but yeah,
it's absolutely crazy.
Mississippi State holding a lead at 27. You got Michael Goldman finishing with 16, Hardaway with a almost double double with 14 points and 8 rebounds, and also Williams almost had a double double themselves with 11 points and 7 rebounds. Um, the only real positive I saw, actually, there's two positives I would say for Vanderbilt. You have Washington finishing with 16 points on 7 of 8 shooting, and then you also have a perfect night at Donaldson, 4 for 4, finishing with 8. So not all negative for Vanderbilt, but overall as a team, I just think they're going to continue slipping, and they're going to have to start building for next year. Is the way I see it. But uh, on our 4 game slate, Big Thursday, we have number 1 North Carolina and Louisville, and then based on rankings, arguably the game of the week, number 6 Michigan and number 5 Oklahoma State. And then another game that could arguably have been game of the week is Texas A&M number 14 going to Lexington to face number 3 Wildcats, and then to end the night, Oregon State and Ohio. But Ace, let's just quickly go through North Carolina, Louisville, so we can get into the next big time matchups here. But North Carolina doing what they need to do against a lesser Louisville team.
Yeah, I know North Carolina won by 22, but if you're Louisville, I think that's a good loss. Louisville's, even though they haven't got their first win of the season, I feel like they've looked better every game they played this season. So um, they're taking the right steps forward. Will it be this year? I don't know. But UNC, just it's another team you do not want to face. They got so many ways to beat you, and my boy Joseph Gaines, what a performance from him! A double double, 16 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists. But if you look at the box score, definitely an evenly scored game through the whole roster.
Oh yeah, and then another double double out of Friday with 10 points and 11 rebounds. But then you got, if we were to say a couple of positives here from Louisville, Powell with a nice game with 14 points, and Albright, who's usually a good spot for them, with 12, did shoot 6 of 16. So we'd like to see them be a little bit more efficient, if he could, moving forward here. But yeah, it's going to be the Louisville, but I expect bigger and better things out of them next year, and I really look forward to seeing their progression as we move forward. But uh, Ace, let's just get right into it. Let's Michigan took down the Cowboys 89-74. Um, Obviously, you hate losing. You never want to lose, but Rusty over there at Michigan's got some big things cooking over there. But you hate to lose by that amount at home, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah. You hate to see it, but Michigan, I knew they were going to be a scary team from the jump, and a lot of people are like, after they lost the first two games of the season, uh, people kind of forgot about Michigan, and now I think they're on I believe, a 5-game win streak. So
Yeah,
Michigan
they're
getting
hot.
hot at the right time. Look at this box score. It's gross to see, but um, Oklahoma State did a good job of limiting the threes. Michigan only shot 1 for 5, but 56 points in the paint for them. Um, Surprisingly, Oklahoma State's done so good all season long, causing turnovers, but they Michigan only had 1 turnover in the whole game,
Yeah.
and uh, Oklahoma State had 7, leading to 10 Michigan points. So Oklahoma State uh, just got to go back to the way they were winning and figure it out from there.
Yeah, I expect the Cowboys to get back on track here next week. I believe they have another tough matchup here against Texas, but you would fully anticipate the Cowboys to be able to win that game. A couple big time performances here out of some Michigan players in Robert Davis, 21 points, and then Matt Maniac with 15 on 7 of 12 shooting. And then Dominga did a little bit of everything with 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists. You definitely, if you want to beat Michigan, got to keep him under control. As for Oklahoma State, you had a couple big performances out of King James, 14 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. And then Dallas Walker with 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist with 3 blocks as well. So you love to see that out of him. But yeah, I mean, Oklahoma State, you lost to a good team. I expect Michigan to continue their hot streak here moving forward, and we have a special guest on this week's episode. We're gonna be talking to someone from Michigan State, so keep a ear out for that as we get through this episode here. But I expect both these teams to be right there in the mix of things moving forward. But another top game here, Ace, with A&M and Kentucky. And man, I thought Kentucky might get the loss here, but they ended up pulling it out 101-96. But what a game this was.
Yeah, it was a great game. Texas A&M actually held a 10-point lead at one time, but this game was absolutely nuts, back and forth. Biggest thing for me, Texas A&M did shoot the three ball very good, 50% on 8 of
Yeah.
16, but Kentucky 66 points in the paint. Um, it's just it's hard to beat these top teams.
Ace, listen. Listen to this. You have Anna with 30 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists on 12 of 18. You have Free with 26 points, 1 rebound, and 6 assists on 10 of 14. And then you have a double double out of Smalls at 10 points and 10 rebounds. I mean, those top three, that could take down the big boys in Hawaii and UNC as well.
Yeah, those that point guard shooting guard duo between Louisiana and World Be Free. Gotta watch out for them because if they get hot, they could beat anyone in the CSBA.
Yeah, but what a game there. So heck of two ball games there back to back with Michigan, OSU, and Texas A&M, Kentucky. And then to round out the night, you have Ohio getting a victory over a slumping Oregon State 84-76. Ace, we've been saying Ohio needs to get back on their winning ways, and it looks like they did just that here against the Beavers of Oregon State.
Yeah, it was a good win. I don't know what's going on with Oregon State. I think they lost 4 games in a row.
It's been bad.
Yeah, I they haven't gotten Caden Connor going like he supposed to. But if there's one bright spot in the game for Oregon State, it was Kelby Big Soldier.
Oh yeah.
He finished with a double double, 15 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks on a perfect night, 7 for 7. So I feel like if Oregon State can get a couple more players, more shooting consistently, they could be a really tough team. But I wonder if it's too late.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's a little bit too late here, Ace. They've been kind of on a slide here for a good while now, it feels like. But Ohio, on the other hand, getting a win when they certainly needed it, and a big time performance at a Euro, 18.6 rebounds and 2 assists on 9 of 10 shooting. Bob Kramer did have 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 6 assists. Oh, excuse me, but did shoot 3 of 12. So definitely need to have a little bit of a better shooting night out of Kramer if they want to continue their winning ways. But nonetheless, they get a victory when they needed it most here. And then to round out the week, we had UConn traveling to Providence, a big time rivalry here between Florida and Tennessee. And then number 17, Virginia Tech taking on the Blue Devils of Duke. Ace, not a lot to say about really any of these games. Pretty much all blowouts besides maybe the last one, but we'll start with the Friars getting a 22-point victory over a lowly Yukon.
Yeah, Providence gets a win again after they lost to UNC last week. Um, they look pretty good. I call this game. They shot the three ball very excellent, 7 for 11,
Yeah,
64%. They actually shot 50%, 57% the whole game, but bench points 41 to 27. Just a lot of things leading to Providence side. And shout out to OG Kush. What a game. Um, in only 18 minutes, too.
yeah,
He scored
yeah,
27 points and 4 rebounds. I think um, he might be a player for player of the week, but he didn't have a lot of things outside of points. You know what I mean? He didn't
yeah, yeah.
really.
I love I love the 1-2 punch though between him and Melanishin.
Oh, yeah. And can't forget about Tommy Campbell, another great player for Providence this season.
Yeah, yeah. And as you said, OG Kush may very well be on that player of the week, but as you also said, not really doing a whole heck of a lot other than scoring, which hey, don't get me wrong. I love the 27 points. I will take that game in and game out. You have Sudogo though on the other side with 16 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. So for UConn, you're starting to consistently see Sonogo performing well for UConn, but not a whole heck of a lot else to really say about UConn. And then another one of my favorite dark horse teams is the Florida Gators, taking Tennessee to the woodshed, Ace, with a 20-point victory for the Gators over the Volunteers.
Yeah, another thing I'm kind of scratching my head on. Tennessee started the season out so good, and I I believe they're on a 4-game losing streak now. I could
Another
be
team that's,
wrong.
yeah, they're sliding.
Um, but look at this box score. Florida just dominated. 6 for 11 from 3 points. Tennessee, another team that shot 0% from three. 0 for 3. That's not going to get it done. But uh, I want to say one thing about Tennessee. DJ McFadden um, was
What
on North
happened to
Carolina.
him?
He only had 4 points and had 4 turnovers on 2 of 3 shooting. And then Dizzy Johnson, right below it on the box score, a great player for Duke last year, 4 points as well. So I think Tennessee has the right pieces, but it's just hasn't form together this season, and I don't know if it's gonna take another season to figure that out, but I have a feeling that Tennessee will be seeing Tennessee in the NIT tournament.
Yeah, yeah, Tennessee's been a shame. The last half of the season, I would say. They started out hot, now they're sliding, but we're talking about players that didn't have great games. Ace, Florida put up dang near 90 points, and their best player, Alexander, only had 9.
Mm, yeah.
We're used to him,
That
scoring 20 plus every game, but Downey, man, 19 points, 2 rebounds, and 8 assists.
yeah. That's a good sign that, yeah, your your star player might have like an off night, but you're still deep
Mhm.
enough. If he has an off night, you're still gonna win that game. But
Yeah. Yeah, so look out for the Gators. I've been loving the Gators ever since I learned about this Alexander cat, and I expect to continue seeing big things out of them. But then the last game to round it out here is Virginia Tech getting another victory here for the Hokies, taking on the Blue Devils, 84-72. Ace, I'm not. IRL, you're used to Duke always being very, very good, but in the CSBA, they are just not having a great season.
no, they are not. I know Showtime's trying his best over here, there, but biggest thing for me is Duke looked really good that first half and then they fell apart. But I think Duke's shooting way too many threes. They shot 24
24.
and and only made 8 of them. And while Virginia's Tech had 56 points in the paint to only 38 for Duke. So I don't know. And Duke's got some good bigs, so I don't know why they're not going inside more. It might. I think it's definitely a playbook thing. So um, I just I just feel like Duke has to go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's a game plan thing for Duke, but don't want to take anything away from the Hokies here. As they had 5 players above the 10-point mark, and Ontario Kane shooting 7 for 8, and Dimes 5 for 6. So you love to see the efficiency out of those two. And Virginia Tech, got back into the top 20. So I would imagine this would solidify them to continue staying in the top 20, and we'll see if they can keep it going throughout the end of this regular season here. But let's hop into Ace, our players of the week. OG Kush did not make player of the week, but my reasoning per se behind that is because they didn't do a whole heck of a lot else. But I'm glad we did give OG Kush their flowers, as they did have a big time scoring performance. But let's take a look at the 5 players we have here. We have Downey for Florida, 19 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals. And then on a losing effort from Arizona, but still nonetheless a big time performance out of Quanago with 23 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists, and 1 steal. For the hot Syracuse Orangemen, we have Otaby with 22 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 3 blocks. Joseph Gaines double double out of UNC, 16 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and 5 blocks. And then last but not least, Kentucky Anna, 30 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 block. Ace, anyone stick out here particular to you? And is there anyone else that may have been left off the list that you wanted to give a shout out to?
Um, man, who would okay? It's kind of a tie in my book, but it's either between Louisiana or OTB. But I think I'm gonna go. I know he dropped 30, and I know it's crazy. 30 points is absolutely insane. If I score 30, I would be loving life. But um I think I gotta go OTB on player of the week.
Yeah, massive double double out of there, and we will be more than happy to give C-Web his flowers after we kind of spoke poorly of him a couple weeks ago. So congratulations, C-Web, there on getting Player of the Week. And then Ace, let's get right into our special guest here as we have none other than the head coach of Michigan, Rusty. Let's get right into your interview there with Rusty and see what you and Rusty get into.
And joining us for the first time this season in Michigan coach Rusty. How you doing?
Hey, I am doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I just want to thanks for joining the podcast and thanks for coming back as a coach. I know you took one season off, but you've been one of my favorite coaches in the CSBA.
Well, thank you. I've been around for a while now. That break was definitely appreciated.
Okay, first question. You were the coach of Marquette for a very long time. And so what made you pick Michigan this time around?
Yes, Marquette for a long time since season 4. Now, I joined the league in season 2, played for Kentucky, and I left Kentucky to go to Georgetown. And then I was gonna go back with Georgetown, but I was offered this position to play with Black Paul at Marquette. Now he's the Ali dynasty, and I was like, well, this is too good of an opportunity to pass up. So I joined Marquette, was there for way too many seasons, and then I had to take a break because life just getting too complicated. But the really I have almost no connection to Marquette until the CSBA. Now I'm a regular fan, but really I am a Michigan football fan. I like their basketball team a lot too. So it was just kind of natural. And when I came back, I wanted to like step up, quote unquote, in my job and have a different kind of program, even though it's very similar. I mean, both blue and yellow, they got the same initials, same kind of vibe. So it's kind of just like a natural transition. I'm already a fan, and that's why I went with Michigan.
Oh man, that's a good selection. Michigan, one of my coaches, favorite teams in real college basketball.
Yeah.
But how did you attack recruiting this season, and how deep do you think your team can go this season?
Hmm. Well, it was definitely a very unique situation for me. I've never actually been in a situation where I was the only player on my roster. Because
Yeah.
even when I was at Marquette, I was taking over an established team, and it was before they just dumped everyone into the transfer portal. So my main strategy, I wanted to try to find a good assistant coach, but I wasn't too confident I'd be able to. But I'll tell you a story. We went to, I went and messaged Glass just kind of on a whim because he is a huge Ohio State Buckeye fan, right?
Oh damn.
And I just kind of messaged him just to kind of like, I don't know, taunt him, make fun of him, or something. I don't know. And then as we were talking, it started getting more and more serious. And I was like, oh, wait, he might actually join. And so after
Wow.
that, I really like focused in on Glass. And the addition of him was huge into getting the rest of my team. So I really wanted to find some like Michigan men, like Jimmy the Kid. He is a Michigan fan. Matty
Maddie
Maniac,
Maniac.
Michigan
Yep.
man. So getting these guys who want to be here, want to see the program be successful, that was my main priority. And I was like, yeah, we'll figure out the roster later.
Yeah, and you guys are definitely turning around this season. On a good winning streak all of a
Yeah.
sudden. And you guys are looking like one of the top teams in the Big Ten, Big 12. But I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Bartlett a couple weeks ago. We're both in the Big Ten, Big 12. Do you think it's the toughest conference in the CSBA?
I think it is absolutely the hardest conference without a question. Because there are no easy outs. The worst team, we talked about this a lot in our commentary. The
Oh, yeah.
worst team could probably be the middle team for any other conference.
For real.
And really, whoever's last right now, by the end of the regular season, could completely change position. I mean, the standings change every week in a dramatic different way. You don't get that in the ACC or SEC or whatever.
No, it's definitely a tough conference, and we talk about it a lot. But I could. I was saying the other day, is it crazy to think maybe 7 teams could make it?
I mean,
Make March Madness?
that would be almost half of the tournament, which might be a lot to ask for, but I mean, who knows? It just depends on how it's ranked. I was looking at the rankings from I think this past week. I want to say 5 of the top like 12 teams were Big 10, Big 12.
Yeah. And then speaking of March Madness, what do you think? What do you think about March Madness this year with half the league makes March Madness and the rest go into the NIT? Do you like it? And do you think some good teams will be left out?
I think it's a great idea because people won't tell you this. It's my idea. I dropped this idea in
Oh,
discussions. I even
damn.
went back to verify, and I said probably splitting the March Madness to a main bracket and then an NIT would be a good idea. Wire said, "Oh, I like that idea." So yeah, I'm a big fan of the idea. I've always thought having everyone in there kind of lessens the value of the regular season. And now with the teams being split, it's only top 16 plus a couple play-in spots. But every game is important. A loss in week 1 is going to matter way more than it did last season, right?
Yeah.
And quality of opponents, that strength of schedule. So we're talking about the Big 12. Our strength of schedule should be really strong, but potentially, we might bring everyone down because we're all beating each other up so much.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm starting to like it more and more the more I think about it. And
Yeah,
for entertainment wise, I think it's going to be great because before a 1 seed would play a 7th seed, right? And
yeah,
they would completely dominate the 7th seed. But now I think it's going to be more competitive because they're going to play like a 4 seed now versus and then in the NIT I think that's going to be very competitive because those teams would be evenly matched as well.
yeah. I agree, and it might even be like one team super talented, but they had a rough season, so they didn't get in. Because yes, if there's going to be good teams miss out, absolutely, there are going to be some fantastic teams that are just outside, or they happen to lose that playing game. But now they're going to be a top seed in the NIT, and well, their season is not over. They could go on a run in there.
For sure.
I think it's a great idea.
And my last question to you is what's your favorite thing about the CSBA? I know you've been in here for a very long time, but what makes you what's your favorite thing and what makes you stay in the league?
Might be controversial, but it is my absolute favorite sim league. There's been a lot to come and go, but I've always liked this one. I've always liked the community. I even like Wired.
Me
I like
too.
everyone. I know people give him a hard time, but I think he really does care about the place, and I think that shows and how he manages everything. And I appreciate that. Not trying to be a shill, but I do appreciate that. And
Yeah.
then the games themselves. Oh, why? I get real into these games. Like if I lose, I gotta be careful not to let that ruin my night. Sometimes, like I get real into it. It's just like watching in my Chicago Bears or something play. Like I get into it, and I just enjoy it, and I have the input, the community. It's been a great time.
Yeah, for real. And for example, when my team lost against Houston a couple weeks ago, I couldn't I couldn't sleep, you know.
Yeah,
I was like, what did I do wrong? But man, but I just want to say thank you, Rusty, for taking the time and joining the show. Really appreciate you and good luck this season.
thank you. You too. Except for next week. No good luck then.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It should be a battle.
Yeah.
All right, great interview, Ace. Out of you and Rusty, always love hearing from our special guests come on to the show. And if anyone else would like to participate and get their time to shine here on CSBA Hoops today, by all means, reach out to Ace or myself, and we'll see what we can do to get you into the bookings. But our last segment of the evening here, Ace, let's get into our top games of the week coming up and get our picks and predictions in. We have number 15 Creighton versus number 13 Providence on Monday. That should be a heck of a ball game. And then we have Texas A&M and Tennessee. We'll see if Tennessee can get back on track and get a late victory here in the season. And then arguably one of the games of the week, Ace, number 8 Kansas State taking on number 6 Michigan. And then number 3 Kentucky taking on number 9 Mississippi State on Thursday. And then to round out the week, your Cowboys, your number 5 Oklahoma State Cowboys, taking on a tough, scrappy Texas team. Ace, what do you think of these games, and who do you think is going to win each of them?
I think these games are great. Yes, I agree. Kansas State and Michigan is game of the week, but this Creighton Providence game could be also game of the week as well. Man,
Yeah.
okay, so Providence have a really good point guard, shooting guard, small forward, like trio. I'm really
Yep.
nervous of how Providence is gonna stop Malcolm Streets on Creighton and Doc Holliday. And Creighton's got some really good guards as well. I
They
think
do.
I'm gonna go with the small upset here. I'm gonna go with Creighton winning against
Okay.
Providence. Even though Melanishin, Tommy Campbell, and OG Kush definitely can win that game, I think they really don't have. I don't know how they're going to stop Malcolm Streets. And then Texas A&M, Tennessee. Tennessee is on a slide. I think Texas A&M gets back on the win column there. Kansas State, Michigan. Michigan's looking very hot.
Very
Kansas
good.
State coming off a win against Michigan State, but I think Michigan's a team you do not want to face right now. I'm going to go with Michigan with the win on that one. Kentucky, Mississippi State can be very good as well. Man, I just don't know if Mississippi State has the bench to uh, to really upset Kentucky. Maybe they do, but I'm going to go with Kentucky winning that one. And Oklahoma State and Texas, man, Oklahoma State coming off a loss against Michigan. Texas coming off a loss. So it's going to be like, who wants it more? That's going to be a
Yeah.
very good game. I know Texas only has 2 wins, but you never count them out. Obviously, I'm going to go with Oklahoma State.
The homer pick.
Yeah, the homer pick. But I wouldn't be surprised. Hey, Oklahoma State, they could lose. They could lose 2 in a row here.
Yeah, they definitely don't want to go into Austin, Texas, kind of over or underestimating the Longhorns. They definitely have to go in there expecting a tough opponent. But I am taking the Friars on Monday night. I think Creighton has kind of lost a lot of their momentum with their loss, so I'm taking the Friars at home. Um, I don't expect Tennessee to really hang around with A&M, even though they are at home. I expect A&M to get the victory there. I expect Rusty and Michigan to continue their winning ways over Bartlett and Kansas State, and I fully expect Michigan to be in the top 5 going into this week after beating Oklahoma State last week. And then Kentucky, Mississippi State, Kentucky has, I mean, their players just absolutely popped off. I expect them to go into Mississippi State and get the victory. And then I have to go with the Cowboys getting back on the winning ways, taking down Texas in that insane conference. And then I would expect OSU or Oklahoma State to drop out of the top 5 going into this week. But after beating Texas, and if they can beat them handily on the road, potentially getting back into the top 5 there. But that'll do it, folks, here for another week of CSBA Hoops today. I'm glad you guys were able to join us here, and I hope to see you guys in the Twitch streams throughout the week. I know we have high school coming up, so everyone's getting very excited for that. I'm looking forward to the high school season getting underway. But Ace, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I'm just excited for week 8. This is extremely important last 2 weeks here. Who's gonna get into March Madness? It's gonna be an interesting talk here very soon. Who's gonna be the teams left out, and who's gonna be the teams that make it? So I'm anxious to see which teams these last 2 weeks in a row go on a win streak and which teams start to go on a losing streak here.
Yeah, we have a lot of teams at 3-3, as you saw whenever we were going through the rankings here. So something's got to happen to differentiate these teams. And Ace and I will think of something here. Might have a guest on for potentially doing a little March Madness breakdown or a March Madness preview here. We'll game plan behind the scenes and see if we want to add a little segment here to our show with March Madness coming up. But on behalf of Ace and behalf of myself, Lion United, we are happy you joined us here for another episode of CSBA Hoops today, and we will see you all on the Twitch streams. So enjoy your week, everyone.